How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Manatee Gaming. Today's video, I'm going to be answering questions from our Discord. Hopefully this will clear up some things when it comes to pricing. So you can use these tips. It doesn't matter if you're part of our Discord or you're not part of it. If you're not, you probably should be. We have over 10,000 people in there flipping and everything. It is the oldest running flipping community in RuneScape. So going strong. We'd love to have you in there. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys some basic pricing strategy that you want to use. Some things you should do, should not do, and hopefully be able to clear up some of the questions that people have been asking. Let's start out with one of the most common questions that I get, and that way we can jump right into the video without waiting. One of the most common questions is, should I just instantly buy, instantly sell things in order to find the prices? So that is one strategy you can do, but I'm going to explain that for some items that will work out pretty well. For other items, you don't really want to do that. And so these right here, I've got 4 different examples in my inventory of some pretty high volume things. These things are traded pretty frequently. We've got blue dragon hide, a U-log, grimy herbs. These are just examples of things that there are tens of thousands of these items traded per day, hundreds of thousands of them. I mean, there's a lot of them traded. And so basically what that means when it comes to how you should price check an item that is traded with like this amount of them, that being high volume. If I was to instantly buy, instantly sell something like here, I'm actually going to go ahead and do it right now. We go in here and let's go ahead and look at this U-log as an example. I'm going to go ahead and instantly buy one. And then I'm going to instantly sell one. Okay, so as you look right here, we've got a instantly bought for 377. Okay, this is really weird. I might have to use another example because for some reason I got really lucky in here and I think somebody just posted an offer. Let's try a different item. That's pretty funny. Let's try a magic log. So if I go in magic log, I'm going to instantly buy a magic log. It's something else that is traded very frequently. 592 is how much I buy it for. And then 566. So that is kind of funny. It's actually pretty funny. I bought these magic logs for 592 and I sold them for 577 on the instance. And this is crazy. I really wish flipping was like this. You just instantly buy, instantly sell everything. This does not usually happen. Just what happened is somebody put a buy offer in literally right in the middle of me doing that. It's kind of funny to have in the video. But as you see right here, these magic logs, 592, 577. If I was to go and I would to price check these items just like this, then what I could do is I could now buy my logs for 577 and sell them for 592. I know that because I just instant bought, instant sold, which means when you instantly buy something, you are buying it for the lowest price possible. And then if you instantly sell something, then you are selling it for the highest price possible, which means that is like the best prices that you can do for those things. Now, when you're doing something like a U-log, magic log, the herbs, the dragon hide, like I said, for the most part, using instant buy, instant sell is going to be just fine because there are so many of those traded. There's so many offers in the Grand Exchange that the price isn't going to be too different. Now, even with something like this, I could try selling my magic logs for $5.99 and they might sell. I might even try to be able to buy them for $5.65 and they might buy. And that is just something you should kind of keep as kind of a rule of thumb, is no matter how you price something, always trying to stretch that buy, stretch that sell, especially if you are doing instant buy, instant sell. But you can do instant buy, instant sell on things like this because they're very high volume. Now, if we look back into my inventory here, let me show you something that you really do not want to do that with. We got a blue party hat right here. And then we've got a Christmas scythe, an Easter egg, a golden party hat, a third age druidic robe top. All 5 of these items have something in common, and that is they are very low volume, which means there's not that many of these traded per day. Some of these, there's very few of them traded per day, like the blue party hat. Now, if I was to go instantly buy or instantly sell, either one, even if I only instant bought and then tried to buy some lower, it doesn't really matter. If you are instant buy, instant selling on these types of items, you are not going to get the most accurate price. And let me explain the reason why for that. I really wish I had my whiteboard for this. I don't know if you watched the channel for a long time, you probably remember when I had this big whiteboard behind me and I would like write out the numbers. But Let me just explain how this would look. Let's take the third age Druidic Robe Top, for example. I'm going to look at here. This is not how much they're actually going for right now. The GE mid is almost always off. But right here, the 206, we'll just use that as an example. Let's say that somebody is selling one right now for, the lowest they're selling it for is going to be like 206. The next person up is like 206.5. But then the next person's 210, and the next person is 220. So what that means is if I was to instantly buy one right now, I would get the 206. If I instantly bought another one, I get 206.5. If I instantly bought the next one, I'd get the 210 and then the 220, right? So if there are other people buying these items, which there are, then that means somebody else could also grab that 206, the 206.5, the 210, and then maybe the 220 is where you should actually be selling it for, because if you waited long enough, that is the sale you would actually make. So basically what that means is that if I was instantly buying, instantly selling these very low volume items, then I am probably only going to buy that one offer, and maybe it's the 206 one, and then I'm going to try to sell all mine for 206. I'm not going to be selling them for anywhere near as high as they could be selling for. Which is why I would not recommend doing instant buy, instant sell on things that are very low volume. If you look at the Blue Party hat, for example, this price is going to be way off. Yeah, they're not anywhere near 94.8 billion right now. But there's something around like, I think it was like 71 to 77 is kind of like the range of them right now. So if you were, for some reason, going to be trying to instantly buy and instant sell a Blue Party hat to get a price range, which makes no sense, but let's just theoretically say you did that. You bought the first one for 71 billion instantly, and then you instantly sold it for like 69 billion. And then you were like, okay, I guess I'm going to buy them for 69 billion, sell them for 71. Well, the next person up could be 74, and then the next person up could be 77. If you just bought that 71 and the next one up is 74, then that means you are the only one selling it below 74, and you should be at least 74 because that's where everyone else in the market is. So as you can see, when it comes to the low volume things, and I know blue is a really funny one to use an example, but the numbers are kind of simple actually. That is the case with pretty much all these low volume things. That is the reason why you will also see, if you were like looking at prices of things, you will see a dramatic difference in prices each day on the low volume stuff. Like for example, this Christmas scythe today could be, I actually don't know how much these are right now, but let's just say it's 1.4 billion. And then tomorrow you're seeing a whole bunch of sales for 1.5 or 1.6. That's because there's not that many listed, and so those prices keep moving out and in and out. The exact same thing goes with the instant sell, by the way. If I was to take this Druidic top as another example for the low volume, let's say I instantly bought it for that 206 because I decided to instantly buy instant sell, which doesn't really work on these. And then I instantly sell it, and I sell it for 200. And I'm like, oh, that's not a very good margin because after tax, I'm only making like 2 million, but I guess that's the margin, right? Not really. So let's say that one guy had an offer of 200. You just sold it to him, but then the next offer down is 170. Well, you'd be paying way too much, and you would never even know that guy had 170. But the real margin would end up being 170 million to 220 million if we used our examples. You understand what I'm saying? But you'll never know that. You'll think it's 200 to 206. I hope that's clear. If it's not clear, please put it in the comments down below, and I will try to explain that out more. But that is basically why we don't want to do that with low volume, and why it's basically fine to do with high volume. Because looking at the U logs once again, let's say that, you know, it's a very high volume item. So if we look at our sales history, let's use the magic logs, because those actually worked without this funny magic going on here. So the magic logs didn't have magic. So the if I was to instantly buy this magic log for 592, I could probably instant buy another 50,000 of them, and they'd all be 592. Maybe they'd be 593. Maybe. So as you can see, there's a huge difference in the high volume because there's a high amount of volume, which means that there's a high amount of the people at the exact same prices. So the prices out there might be 592 to 600, but there's a million logs in between there. So if you were to try to sell yours for, you know, a lot higher than that, it's probably going to take forever or never sell. And so that is why the instant buy instant sell works just fine for this, because there's tons of offers in there. You don't have to worry about, to simplify it, you don't have to worry about you buying somebody else's offer and then there being another one way higher, because that's not going to happen with a magic log or a U log or a fire rune or something, because there's so many of them in the game, right? Okay, so just a little quick recap on items like these right here. Totally fine to instant buy instant sell, just do that. On items that are very low volume, I would really recommend you do not do instant buy instant sell. The only time you would maybe want to instant buy something like this, and this is the time that you might want to do it, is let's say you wanted to instant buy that Third Age Druidic Robe Top, and you bought it for the 206, or you bought it for the 206.5 the other guy had it for, and then you were like, okay, I remember what Manatee Gaming said about, there's potentially offers that are a lot higher, and this is a very low item, so I'm actually going to put this for like, I'm going to stretch that sale. I'm going to do like 200 and like just below 220,000. And I'm going to let it sit there for a little bit. That is fine, because what you're doing is you're using the knowledge I just gave you to know that there's a pretty good chance that the instant buy instant sell is not 100% accurate. If I was to instantly sell this right now for this price and then it sold and I got 200 million gold back, well, 200 million gold, minus tax, whatever. 200 million is what the item sold for. God, they made this so confusing now. Then what I would probably try to do is be like, okay, Manatee Gaming said that doesn't really work too well. So if I sold it for 200 million, there's probably not that many people buying it. So I'm gonna try like 185 million, and I'm gonna like try to buy it for this price. And then that's what you should do. And then what you can do from those numbers is you can just let them sit for how long they should be sitting, because every item in the game has an amount of time you should wait for it and an amount you should update by. We have all of that in our spreadsheets in the Discord server, so if you have access to those spreadsheets, every single item we flip tells you how long to wait and how much to update by. It took me forever to make all that. It was a lot of knowledge into one sheet. But if you don't have access to that, you can just kind of do trial and error and just find out on your own. It's not that hard to do. It's kind of hard to do over like 1,000 different items, but it's not that hard for like a couple different things, so you can do this on your own. So what you can do though is you can let this Third Age Druidic Robe Top sit there for a little while. If it doesn't buy after like a few hours, then maybe up it to 186, let it sit for a few more, 187, let it sit for a few more. As you can see, that's kind of slow, but that is how flipping on your own works. It's a little bit slow, but once you lock in that price though, then you'll get some items going and everything like that. And obviously this is one of 8 slots. So, and if you have multiple accounts, let's say you had like 4 accounts, that's 32 slots, which means you could be working like this on 32 items at once. Stuff is going to be moving, so don't worry about it. But the thing is though, is there's a really good chance that you're going to buy it for lower and you're going to sell it for higher. That is how the low volume items work. Now let me show you guys another example too. I've got this Zamorak hilt. I'm gonna use that as my next example. Zamorak hilt is something that is a cheaper item, a much cheaper item, but also follows the same rules as these items up here. Even though these are way more expensive, they're worth way more amount of money than a Zamorak hilt is, there's not that many Zamorak hilts that get tossed in the Grand Exchange. There is more Zamorak hilts than these things, but they are still a fairly rare item because it's only the people that went and sat at Zamorak that day that really got one. It actually has a fairly low volume, and a lot of people also just craft it into a sword and then sell the sword itself. So the number of hilts in here is not that huge. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm actually going to go ahead and instantly buy a new hilt, so I can show you guys an example here. It didn't even buy. Okay, this is a great example. Okay. So as you can see right here, the Zamorak hilt did not even buy. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and sell a Zamorak hilt. Where is my Zamorak hilt? Weird. Oh, I see what I did. Ah, ha, ha, ha. I thought I had a buy offer in there. I clicked on that to show you guys the item, and then, see, this is the reason why making videos while you're talking is sometimes a struggle if you haven't had enough coffee in the morning. Okay. We're going to try to buy the Zamorak hilt again and actually buy the Zamorak hilt. Welcome to Manatee Gaming. There we go. I bought it for 569,202. So it bought literally right at the mid. I'm going to go ahead and sell it. You guys can use this as a margin, I guess. Boop. and it sold, and 5. Wow, it has like no margin. Okay, don't flip this item. It has like no margin at all. But the thing is, though, is I have definitely bought Zamorak hilts for like 300,000. I've also sold a couple Zamorak hilts for probably like 8 or 900,000. I don't remember the exact number, but definitely above the mid price. If I was to only instant buy, instant sell, then I would look at Zamorak hilt and be like, wow, that item's dead. And the truth is just a lower volume item. And it's one of those things where you need to be trying to dramatically buy it for lower than what you'd sell it for and sell it for probably higher. The thing with Zamorak hilt, though, there's not a whole lot of demand for Zamorak hilt, because if you think about it, who actually wants a Zamorak hilt? Not very many people. So what I would probably try to do is try to buy them for super low and then sell them probably actually around this price. Maybe try a little bit higher if you want to, but like I said, not very much demand for it, so I would definitely start quite a bit lower, maybe like 300k, maybe even lower than 300k. That way, also, it turns out to be a pretty nice flip, because if I was to flip 10 of those, I'd be picking them up for 3 million coins for 10, and I'd be selling them for the 5.7, so I'd make like 2.7 minus taxes, which is pretty good on something like a Zamorak hilt. But this is how you would try to flip a Zamorak hilt. You would not instantly buy, instantly sell, and then try to use that complete trash margin, which I don't even think you'd make any money with the taxes, honestly. But that is another example of things like this, where once again, the instant buy, instant sell does not work. You can even see how it literally does not work right here. So just try not to do that kind of thing. Another example here is going to be like a soul die, aurora die. This is one that I actually very recently did. If you're part of our Discord server, then I talked about this for weeks. What I was doing is I was buying, just personally, not telling everybody to buy them. I was just buying them. I bought up a lot of soul dies. I bought up a lot of aurora dies. And I bought them for like 270-ish when they went down because of necromancy. And I was like, you know what? Those dies look way too cool for them to be 270 million. And also, they kind of stayed at 270 million for a minute. So I'm like, yeah, let's buy them up. So I bought a whole bunch of aurora dies and soul dies. And the best way to be able to flip something like this is to kind of plan for where it's going. If I'm going to use the exact margin of, you know, what they're going for at the moment, I could still make some good money. Like for the soul dies and aurora dies, for a minute while they were like 270-ish, I was actually buying them and selling them for like, I'd buy like, I'd have to look at the records, but it was like 270 to 290, and then 272 to 299 or something like that. Like the margin was really good. But the thing is what I realized is I was like, okay, these are probably going to go up. So I just bought a bunch of them. Not enough to make them go up, obviously, but I bought enough so that I would make good money when they did go up. I also bought a bunch of ice dies too. I bought ice dies for like 920, 930. Now, I could have sold them for like 980 because that was the margin at the time. It was like 930-ish to 980, which is not a bad margin at all. So what I did though is I held on to those as well. I ended up putting my soul dies up for 350. Kind of a bummer because they went up above 350 there for a bit. They were like 390, and I put my aurora dies in for 350, which they ended up going to 350. I also put my ice dies for 1100 million, which people thought I was crazy because of the fact that they were like 920, and so I was like, nah, I got this. And yeah, everything sold off. I made a ridiculous amount of money on those. It was awesome. So what you can learn from stuff like that though is that dies in general tend to follow like a trend. They are something that will, you know, they will either be steadily rising or they'll be steadily falling. They don't really do much else. The Barrows die is, I mean, even Barrows die will steadily rise or steadily fall. It went down to like 85 or 90 million, and then it's, you know, went all the way back up over 100 million. So they either going straight up or they're going straight down. Straight up, straight down. So when items like this, the best way to flip these is not even to do like a instant buy, instant sell. That would not be great on these either. It's also not the best just to regularly flip them. Unless you are working with a lower amount of money, then you should definitely just regularly flip them. But if you've got the money and you've been looking at the market, you can just buy these and then hold on to them for a little bit longer and then sell them after they've gone up a significant amount. My aurora dies went from 270 to 350. That is a significantly better margin than me selling them all for 290. Like I couldn't even buy them for 290 anymore. So that is something to look at for items like this, like dies. There are other items that fall into that category, but I would make this video like way too long. It's already kind of long. And yeah, so hopefully that kind of helps out with that. But the main thing here that I want to tell you guys though is when it comes to flipping most gear pieces, because most gear pieces are going to be low volume, they're pretty much all low volume actually. So weapons, armor, all that kind of stuff. You don't really want to instantly buy, instant sell stuff. If you just really want to get to the price really quickly, then instant buy one and then try to buy. So instantly buy one. So now you have the sell price, right? Maybe stretch that sell price a little bit higher because it will probably sell a little bit higher. There's tons of items that do that. And then for the buy, when you're trying to buy it, just buy it for the average margin. If you don't know what the average margin is, once again, you can check out our Discord server. We have the entire list of literally every item that we flip, and it has the average margin. But let's just say you're looking at something like, I don't know, a Nox item. The average margin is probably going to be somewhere between 10 and 20 million, depending on the Nox. So you can kind of use that to tell like where you should start buying it at. That's also a pretty good way to price check. Instantly buy one, and then try to buy the next one or however many at the lower price, and then selling them maybe a little bit above so you can make your money back on the first one, and then also be able to make more profit on the next one. And then after that 4-hour buy limit is done, then you can do the next two knowing what the prices are. That's also a pretty effective way to price check. Anyway, if you guys have more questions about this or anything else involving flipping, then feel free to ask. If you look in our Discord server and you go to Flipping School, there's a section called Price Checking, and price checking explains how to do everything I just mentioned in the video. Although this video is a little bit more in depth, so hopefully this helped you guys out, because I know that price checking is definitely one of the biggest things people struggle with when it comes to flipping. But like always, if you guys want to be able to get all of the prices you can have, like hundreds and hundreds of prices, sometimes probably 1,000 prices posted per day, then check out our Patreon sections to support the channel in our Discord below. Anyway, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.